Hey everyone, this is Skizamir. I got a 2500 point battle report. My Demons versus the new Dark Elves. Starting off on my opponent's far left, he has a Bolt Thrower, he has a Hydra, he has 30 Corsairs with a Banner of Swiftness. In the center of his lines is a Dread Lord with a Charmed Shield, Heavy Armor, Sea Dragon Cloak, Crown of Command, Ogre Blade, Luckstone, and he's riding a Pegasus. One thing that's missing here that's very key is no Pendant of Calith, so although he's still very killy, he's got ASF now, so he's got rerolls, but he doesn't have that horrible ward save that I've come to hate. But I don't have to anymore. Behind that, he's got 30 Spearmen, and in there he has his level 2. She's rocking a Dispel Scroll, and for spells she rolled on Shadow, and she got Miasma and Enfeebling Foe. Also in that unit is BSB. He has Heavy Armor, Sea Dragon Cloak, and a Sword of Might. That unit's rocking the Standard of Discipline. In front of that is one of those brand new Charybdis, pretty scary model, Strength 7, Thunder Stomps, Initiative 5, and Weapon Skill 4, I believe. It's pretty good stat line, but it lacks in Toughness 5 and a 4+ armor, so it's very killy, but not too defensible. To the right of that unit, he has the classic 20 Blackguard with a Razor Standard. Now you can take him in units larger than 20, but he only has 20 models. So behind that, he has a level 4 on a Pegasus, and she's rocking the Tome of Furion and a Talisman of Endurance. And for spells, she rolled on the Dark Lore there, and she got Doombolt, Word of Word of Pain, Shroud of Despair, and Power of Darkness. To the right of that is 5 Dark Riders. And right in that building, you can see that he's got 5 or 6 shades there. And in those woods shrouded by foliage is another Bolt Thrower. Now, starting off on my Nurgle Demons themed armor, I have 5 Furies with Mark and Nurgle. And right at the edge of the forest there is my Demon Prince. Now, I did something in this build I'd never liked to do with my General and my Caster, is combine them into one. I think it's very risky having your Caster also your General, because all it takes is one bad miscast and you're done for. However, what's even worse than that is it's when your Caster is your Lord and it's over 500 points, which is such a bad combo. But with Demons, they don't really give you a choice. Either if you want a level 4, you have to take a Demon Prince or a Great Unclean One. Great Unclean One or a Greater Demon. Great Unclean One is better than a Demon Prince, I believe, because he's more survivable, barring a horrendous miscast. But I have the Demon Prince model. I don't have a Great Unclean One. So I'm rocking the Demon Prince. He's over 500 points here. He's a level 4. He has Wings, Chaos Armor, the Sword of Swift Slaying. I rolled up Unbreakable Skin as his 50-point gift. And for spells, he got Doom and Darkness, Curse of Lampshade, Fate of Bijuna, and Spirit Leech. So a nice death set to go sniping. I have 3 Plague Turkeys. To the right of that, I have a Soul Grinder, that big beastie in the middle. To the right of that, I have 39 Plague Bearers, and in there I have a BSB with a Razor Standard. And that unit's rocking the Lichbone Pennant, and that's to give him a nice 4-up ward versus any magic missiles or magic direct damage, since that is my main killer unit in this army. And that BSB also has the Locus of Virulence, so that unit has Poison 5+ and Armor Piercing. So that unit is pretty stalwart in combat. To the right of that is 31 Plague Bearers with a full command. To the right of that is a Beast of Nurgle solo. There's 3 more Plague Turkeys, and to the right of that is 5 more Furies with a Mark of Nurgle. Dark Elves got turn 1. He moved up his Dark Riders around the building, like so. And the rest of his forces moved up, or inched forward. The Charybdis went into the woods there. The Blackguard moved up to the side of the woods. And the level 4 on the Pegasus flew behind the building to give it block some line of sight and some charges, and to give her a nice view of the battlefield. And here you can see the center. He just kind of sally forth a bit. In the magic phase, he got boosted miasma off from my Soul Grinder. The big one here is the -2 movement, so now he's down to movement 6. Movement 8 is pretty nasty on a beast like that. His Bolt Thrower opened up here and took off a Fury. His other Bolt Thrower opened up and took off another Fury. And his Shades in the building took a wound off my Beast of Nurgle. I turn 1, I come running around the big building here. My Demon Prince moves up the flank to threaten this whole side here. The Furies move up to threaten the Bolt Thrower. The Soul Grinder moves up to try and engage the Corsairs there. And the Plague Turkeys, with their 10-inch hover move, they don't have enough to clear the building, so they kind of have to slink forward a bit, and they're kind of blocked in by the Soul Grinder, so they're kind of choked up on that corner there, but they're still there, having a threatening presence just in case anything goes ahead. I got to charge my Soul Grinder forward, and that'll open up a lane for the Plague Turkeys to get into the battle. But my Demon Prince is right behind that building, so he's going to be there threatening the Hydra. And my meat and potatoes move forward in the center to kind of spar off against the center of his lines. My Beast and Nurgle moved up to the building. He's 1 inch away. In hindsight, I should have left him behind the fence, because that way he'd at least have some soft cover. But I got a little overzealous, and I moved him up front there, so he's got no soft cover, which is not good versus Shades at close range. The Plague Turkeys moved over here to kind of run around the building and try and get into his flank. I know the Dark Riders are going to go right around me. They're so fast and agile, and really good unit in the new book. So I know they're just going to go right around me. I didn't really plan on stopping them at all. And the Nurgle Furies here moved up to take on this Bolt Thrower. So Dark Elf's turn 2. He reformed his Hydra because the inevitable Demon Prince versus Hydra is going to happen. He could have moved forward and try and charge out of my way, but then my Demon Prince would have probably gotten to his Corsairs in the flank, which is not good. So he really has no choice here but to reform his Hydra. He tries to charge his Charybdis and his Blackguard into my 30-man unit of Plague Bearers in bus formation, and his Blackguard unfortunately failed, so his Charybdis has to go in solo, which is normally not a horrendous matchup. I mean, he's relying heavily on his Thunderstomps, but the fact I have a ward save and not armor makes his Strength 7 almost, worthless. And here you can see his level 4 flew around my units to get in my back. I really have no agility with this army, and I don't have too much ranged, barring the Soul Grinder's, spit attack. So she's pretty safe back here. The Dark Riders do what I thought they were going to do. They just mosey right around my Plague Turkeys. That's fine. And his Dreadlord moves up to support his Charybdis, because his Charybdis is going to need some extra combat res. Because they're only leadership 6, so if he loses a combat, if he doesn't score, at least 4, because I have a musician in this unit, then he's probably going to break just in my ranks and banners. In the magic phase, he goes and gets an enfeebling foe off. So he minuses 3 strength from my Plague Bearers, so unless I poison, I'm not going to get through. But luckily I do have poison on this unit, so. His Bolt Thrower opens up and strips 2 more Furies off the right flank. And he takes another wound off my Beast of Nurgle with his Shades. In the combat here, I roll 3 or 4 poisons. I get through his toughness there, even though I'm strength 1. And I manage to do 3 wounds to the Charybdis. And he does 6 wounds to me in return. So I end up winning the combat, but he sticks his leadership because his general's right there. And on this flank, my turn 2, my Furies charge into this Bolt Thrower. I lose 1 to difficult terrain. The Demon Prince goes into the Hydra. My Soul Grinder completes the charge into his Corsairs. And I think I needed an 8 or a 9 for these Plague Bearers to get into his Spearman here with his level 2 and his BSB. They moved forward a little too aggressively, and I managed to catch him. So that's going to be a very favorable combat for me. Seeing as it's all kind of clogged up there, I just reform my Plague Turkeys to help out my Plague Bearers and force him to move his Sorcerers on a Peg Lord just to get her further away from this combat, or at least redeploy, keep her on her toes. My Furies go into the other Bolt Thrower, and my Turkeys continue to round around the building. So the Demon Prince manages to do 2 wounds to the Hydra. The Hydra does 1 wound to the Demon Prince. I break him from combat. I chase him down, and I overrun it into the flank of his Corsairs, which is amazeballs. So now my Soul Grinder and my Demon Prince are into the Corsairs. So I'm going to have a 2 strength 6 Thunderstomps. I'm going to get all these attacks. And I managed to pretty much whiff. I did 2 wounds in total between both Thunderstomps. And I managed to do 8 wounds to the Corsairs. He does 1 wound to my Soul Grinder, but he's steadfast and he sticks. In the center, I allocate all the Plague Bearers I can on his level 2 to get rid of that Shadow Magic. And I take her out, and I do 6 wounds to the unit, and he goes and does 2 wounds to my Plague Bearers in return. I win the combat heartily, and I break him, and I run him down. So there's his center line, his BSB, and his level 2 gone. In the combat in here, I do 1 more wound to the Charybdis. He does 3 more wounds to me. I end up winning the combat again, but he's got his general there, so he passes his leadership test. And my Beast of Nurgle charged the building to try and rout these shades out of the building, and he just shoots him in the face with a standard shoot, and he dies horribly. So, Dark Elves turn 3. He takes his Dreadlord, and he charges my Plague Bearers. His Blackguard finally make it in, and to add insult to injury, he charges his Dark Riders into my flank. So he's putting all his cookies in one jar here, and it's very decisive combat. He's got a lot of combat res going into it, and I might be in some trouble here. In the combat here, it was another bad showing with Thunderstomps. I think I killed 2 more in total with 2 Strength 6 Thunderstomps. But I do manage to kill 9 of the Corsairs, but they remain steadfast and they stick around. The Furies of Nurgle finish off the Bolt Thrower on the left. The Nurgles of Fury finish off the Bolt Thrower on the right. So the Furies did their job this game, as they usually always do. And this big nasty combat in the center. I take 5 attacks or 6 attacks, 6 of my Plague Bearers, and I put them on the Charybdis. I managed to strip the last wound off it, so I don't have to weather another Strength 7 Thunderstomp. I don't even go against the Dreadlord. I just put my attacks on the Dark Riders and fail. And I take the 4 Plague Bearers on the left, and I go against his Blackguard. I take out 2 of the Blackguard. He does 8 wounds to me in return. He wins this combat handily because of, he's got charges, he's got flanks, he outwounded me by 3. So odds are this whole unit is going to come close to popping, if not pop. And I roll double 1s for my break test. And we all know what that means in the new Demon book is I get my whole entire unit back. I outrank him now because his Blackguard only has 2 ranks. So now I have 3 ranks. And yeah, this is pretty much when my opponent decided to call the game here. I mean, his Corsairs are locked in combat with 2 toughness 5 and 7 beasts with 2 strength 6 Thunderstomps. He's got his Dreadlord left, but my Plague Bearer bus up top there with the armor piercing banner. I got the Plague Turkeys to the right. They're gonna charge into the side of the Blackguard. So during my turn, this combat's gonna get disgusting, and yeah, I'm pretty much gonna probably win this combat. And even if he sticks, his Dreadlord is probably gonna stick. Even if he sticks, the rest of my army's gonna come and support, and that's pretty much the end of the game. So some notes here. The death magic was pretty ineffective for me. He was on my Demon Prince, and granted he was in the flank. I tried 3 death snipes during my first magic phase to try and take out the Hydra, and his high leadership just pinged right off him because his general was in range of the Hydra there. So the death wasn't too impressive, although it's always a threatening lore to have. I will definitely take it again. I mean, I hate taking a level 4 Demon Prince, but unfortunately, if I want that magic defense, I have to take a level 4, and I have to put it on my general, and it's just I'm not a big fan of it, but in this game it didn't hurt me. Nurgle's resilience is awesome. I love, first off, having poison attacks on pretty much my whole entire army. But what's even better than that is having -1 to hit. It really balances off the ASF well of the Dark Elves. So I mean, 3s with a reroll compared to 4s with a reroll is a whole, it's a whole different world. So I really like how Nurgle's resilience really shined in this. I wasn't taking too many wounds, and having a 5-up ward save really helps as well. The Sea Dragon Cloak's an awesome addition. I got the Dark Elves book and I looked it over, and it's so awesome with the Sea Dragon Cloaks. First off, on the Corsairs, having core with 4+ armor save is pretty awesome, but then it really allows you to make very survivable hero kits, which is something I really like in that book. Also, the rerolls they get is pretty ridiculous. Given them ASF, they're a lot more reliable to hit. Hatred's nice, but ASF is every round. And also that Murderous Prowess roll, even though it's kind of minute, But the fact that it just grants more reroll rolls to the army, which gives you a greater chance of success. It's really quite impressive. On the Demons' unpredictable instability, man, in this game it really shined for me. But as easily as I rolled double ones, I could have rolled double sixes and popped the whole unit, and it definitely would have changed the dynamic of the game. But I guess that's kind of what comes with Demons, is you really have that random element. But in this game, it really helped me out. Rolling the 2+, rolling the 2+ armor save for my Demon Prince is probably the best result you could probably get. It makes it, that much closer to a Chaos Demon Prince, which is by far 100 times better. And with a 25-point gift, I always expect to get ASF. If I don't roll a 6, I'm just going to take the ASF sword, because rerolls with a Demon Prince is pretty amazing, especially since you're initiative 9, I believe. And that leaves the last one, my Demon Princess. Really, yeah, he killed a Hydra this game, but he really failed to really impress me. He really failed. He didn't do too much damage to the Corsairs, and his magic was very ineffective. But, for the points I paid for him, well over 500 points, I really expect a greater return. But in this game, I didn't really see it. But thank you very much.